Welcome to the deep dive. We've got a ton of research and articles today all about AI, specifically vertical AI agents and how they could impact the container maritime world. Especially since you work at a container line, I think this deep dive will be particularly interesting for you. We've even got some insights from some Y Combinator experts to help unpack all this.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating stuff. We could be looking at a complete change in the way container lines operate. Not just, little improvements here and there, but like a total overhaul. The Y Combinator experts we're looking at today, they actually think vertical AI agents could be like 10 times bigger than SaaS.
10 times bigger than sauce. Whoa, hold on. That's a pretty big statement, right? I mean,
Yeah.
didn't sauce already, revolutionize the way businesses do things?
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the point they're making. They're drawing a direct parallel, saying this AI thing could be even more significant. And what's driving that prediction is how fast AI is evolving. I mean, think about it. Just a little while ago, AI was mostly text-based. Like, all we had were simple chatbots. And now, we've got AI making phone calls that sound just like a real human. They're even handling complex tasks like debt collection.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's impressive. But how does all that translate to the maritime world? You know what I mean? We're dealing with ships and containers and
Yeah.
ports. Not exactly your average phone call, right?
Right. And that's where the vertical part of vertical AI comes in. These AI agents are designed to be specialists. They're built to tackle specific jobs within a certain industry. So they're not trying to do everything. But what they do, they do really well. The Y Combinator experts actually highlight this company called Zepto. They completely replaced their customer support team, like 1,000 people, with an AI agent. And get this, that agent now handles something like 30,000 support tickets every single day.
30,000. Are you serious? That's mind-blowing. But, I mean, could we really see that kind of efficiency with container lines? I mean, that's a whole different level of complexity.
Yeah, you're right. It is complex. But here's the key. The AI agents that are having the most success are the ones that are taking over those boring, repetitive tasks. Like all the administrative work that comes with shipping, the documentation, the scheduling, the tracking, the customer queries, all that stuff is ripe for AI optimization. And what's really interesting is the Y Combinator folks, they're saying these agents aren't just replacing software. They could actually replace entire teams.
Replacing entire teams. Whoa, that's a huge statement to make.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that has some pretty big implications for everyone working at a container line. I mean, including you.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's something we can't just ignore. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, and we need to really think about the potential impact this could have on the workforce. Like, this kind of shift could definitely lead to job losses in certain areas. But on the flip side, it could also create new specialized roles focused on, developing and managing AI.
Yeah.
The Y Combinator experts, they have this interesting way of thinking about it. They say, look for the jobs that are dirty, dangerous, or boring. Those are the ones that are prime candidates for vertical AI agents.
Okay, yeah, I get that. So, thinking about container lines, dirty could be like dealing with hazardous materials, right?
Yeah.
And dangerous could be, I don't know, inspections in those risky parts of the ship.
Yeah.
And then boring. Well, a lot of those admin tasks probably fall into that category.
Right, exactly. And the thing is, it's not just about, automating what we're already doing. It's about, like, using AI to actually change how businesses work on a fundamental level, like documentation. Think about all the paperwork involved in international shipping. I mean, it's crazy. Bills of lading, customs declarations, certificates of origin. An AI agent could handle, like, so much of that automatically. Fewer errors. And it frees up the human staff to actually focus on more, strategic stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a game changer for any container line. What about, customer service?
Yeah.
The container lines are always dealing with, a million questions about where's my shipment? Why is it delayed? All that stuff. Could an AI agent handle that?
Oh, for sure. I mean, if it's trained right, an AI agent could answer those basic questions instantly. Track shipments in real time even. Like, give customers a heads up if there's a potential disruption. I mean, think about it. How much time does your team currently spend on those kinds of tasks?
A lot. Way too much. It sounds like AI could really play a big role in the operational side of things too, figuring out the best routes and schedules. Every container line wants an edge there.
Yeah, and we're already starting to see that. AI being used to analyze weather patterns, how congested the ports are, all these factors to try and figure out the most efficient routes. Imagine, an AI agent that's constantly monitoring all that and can just, adjust the routes instantly to avoid delays and save fuel. That's the kind of efficiency that could make a huge difference.
Yeah. Makes you think about safety and maintenance too. Could AI play a role there?
Definitely. I mean, think about all the data coming from sensors on ships. An AI agent could analyze that and predict potential maintenance issues before they even become a problem. That could
Yeah.
help prevent, expensive downtime for repairs and also make sure the crew and the cargo are safe.
What about the financial side of shipping? I mean, could AI help there too?
Oh, totally. Think about things like invoicing, processing payments, even like risk assessment. An AI agent could automate a lot of that. It helps streamline the financial operations and maybe even boost the bottom line.
It sounds like we're talking about like a pretty wide range of applications here. Everything from like, back office tasks to customer facing roles to those core operational functions. It feels like a complete shift.
And that's exactly what those Y Combinator experts are saying. It's not just about automating things we already do, it's about using AI to actually create totally new ways of working. Imagine like an AI agent that could analyze market trends, how much capacity the ports have, even political risks, all that to figure out if a new trade route makes sense. That's the kind of insight that could help container lines make smarter decisions.
Right. So it's not just about, doing things faster or cheaper. It's about doing things differently, like expanding what's even possible.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important for container lines to start figuring out how they can use vertical AI agents now. The big question to ask is, where are the biggest opportunities for improvement in my business? What are the things that are holding us back? And how can we use AI to overcome those challenges?
I mean, this all sounds amazing, but let's be real.
Hmm.
There's got to be some challenges and downsides to consider too, right? I mean, every new technology comes with its own set of hurdles, right? And AI is probably no exception.
You're totally right. One of the biggest challenges is going to be data. I mean, these AI agents need tons of it to learn and do their thing. Container lines are going to have to invest in really solid data collection and management systems.
And then there's security and privacy, right? I mean, we're
Yeah.
talking about some pretty sensitive information here, cargo details, routes, customer data.
Absolutely. Container lines need to make sure these AI systems are secure and that they're following all the rules. And, they need to be ready to deal with concerns about data breaches and what happens if that information gets misused.
And what about the people? I mean, some employees are going to be worried that AI is going to take their jobs.
Yeah, and that's a valid concern. Container lines need to be proactive about communicating with their employees about how AI could affect their jobs. Provide training and support to help them adapt to these new technologies. It's about managing this transition in a way that works for everyone and, thinking about the social and ethical side of things.
Right, so it's not just about the technology itself, it's about the big picture. Container lines need to think about this holistically, considering the technical aspects, the business side of things, and of course the human impact.
Exactly. It's a complex challenge. But the potential benefits, they're huge. The container lines that figure out how to use AI the right way, they're going to have a real advantage in an industry that's only getting more complex and demanding.
So far, we've been talking a lot about the big picture, but what about the individual worker at a container line? I mean, what can they actually do to prepare for the rise of AI?
I think the key is to be proactive. Don't wait for AI to come to you. Start exploring the technology now. There are tons of resources online, courses, even free tools to help you get started. Learn the basics of AI and how it can be applied.
So start thinking about how AI could affect your specific job at the container line.
Yeah, exactly. The more you understand about AI, the better prepared you'll be for the changes that are coming.
What about all those like boring tasks we were talking about before? Should people try to automate themselves out of a job?
I don't think it's about that. It's more about figuring out which tasks AI could handle better. Like, think of it as having a digital assistant.
So instead of spending hours on data entry or making reports, you can focus on more like strategic and creative work.
Exactly. By using AI, you can free up your time and energy to focus on the things that humans are really good at: problem solving, innovating, and building relationships.
So it's not about AI versus humans. It's about AI and humans working together.
That's a great point. AI is a really powerful tool. But in the end, we decide how to use it. By embracing AI and learning how to work with it, I mean, we can do some incredible things.
This has been a really fascinating look into the world of vertical AI agents and what they could mean for the container maritime sector. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with something to think about. We've been talking about AI agents replacing like whole teams. But could they go even further? I mean, could they actually create new organizational structures, like structures we can't even imagine yet? Is it possible that, I don't know, maybe a container line could be run by like a handful of people and a bunch of AI agents?
That's a really interesting question, and it really gets to the heart of how this technology could completely change the industry. It's tough to say for sure what the future holds, but one thing's for sure, AI is going to shake things up. All those traditional hierarchies and ways of working, those are going to be disrupted. We might even see totally new roles in departments popping up, ones that are specifically focused on managing and working with these AI agents.
So instead of those typical org charts with all the boxes and lines, we might end up with something way more, I don't know, fluid and dynamic.
Right, exactly. We could see teams forming and then disbanding based on specific projects, with AI agents playing a big role in coordinating and doing the work.
It really does feel like the container maritime world is right on the edge of a huge transformation. So, if you're listening to this and you work in this industry, what's the one thing you should be thinking about right now?
Don't be afraid to try things out. Start small. Find one specific task or problem that you think AI could help with. There are so many tools and resources out there to get you started. I mean, you don't have to build an AI agent from scratch.
So, just dip your toes in the water, see what happens, and learn as you go.
Exactly. The people who are willing to experiment and, keep trying new things, they're the ones who are going to benefit the most.
This has been a really thought-provoking deep dive into the world of vertical AI agents. We've talked about the potential benefits, the challenges, and even some of the bigger societal impacts. But one thing's for sure, this technology is here to stay, and it's going to change the world as we know it.
And for everyone working at container lines, the future is full of opportunity. The key is to be open to change, adapt your skills, and use AI to make the industry more efficient, more sustainable, and ultimately more successful. So as you think about your own job at the container line, what's your boring task that could be a game changer with AI?
That's the question we want you to think about as we wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep exploring.